The Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez Show.
We are two wild and crazy guys.
That's right. Sometimes they're funny.
There you go. You won't feel so bad.
Yes, I do actually.
Sometimes they're serious.
My daughter made an incredible squash vegetable soup.
But they're always real.
Do you use a regular toothbrush or do you have like an electronic toothbrush?
And will tell you the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
The Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez Show.
Hello. Happy Saturday.
What's going on?
I'm good, baby.
Over here looking like a Barbie.
You looking like a Barbie? No, I told you what you look like.
I look like I have a mohon on top of my head.
No, you look like a chess piece.
A chess piece. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am a queen.
Well,
How are you guys? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you.
Thank you. I'm over here chileando, you know. Just
In LA doing your thing.
it's finally cooled off over here. It was like 100 degrees forever. I'm like, dude, it's almost Halloween. Can it cool down just a little bit? So finally cooled down.
The same thing happened, but then it was like it took it away because for a day or two it was nice and cool. And then all of a sudden it got hot and muggy. Inside the car was like 107 degrees. I'm like, damn.
Mm-hmm. In other news, I've begun hiking again. So, like a dumbass, I decided to go hiking for the first time since I did hike throughout the pandemic, but for the first time, really, really hike and do like a difficult hike on the hottest day of the summer. It was like 100 degrees outside, and I was like, why am I so out of shape? And then I realized, like, it's 100 degrees outside. And I have a mask on, like a pendeja. Oh, yeah.
Cada cual wears their mask like what they are.
And it was one of those days where you can read like where the weather app. That's right. That's true. Well, the weather app, if you read, when you read, you'll see that it tells you when there's good and bad air quality. And the air quality was bad that day too. So I was like, oh, it's a combination of things. Leave it to me.
What about you, Louis?
Can't hear you. Louis going, yo, 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 yo.
He's talking to no one.
We can't hear you.
No,
Can you hear us?
I can hear myself, but I hear you now. I hear you now. So, Jackie, I just want you to know that Ivan Sanchez said that he sent a helicopter for you, but you didn't grab the ladder.
I can't. I have no thumbs. As a Barbie, how am I supposed to grab it?
Hello, everybody.
I wonder how much the helicopter costs.
I know, right?
I love
Just
it.
send me the money next time, Ivan.
Word. Economízate.
Mm-hmm.
Mira, esa
How's
mosca.
everybody out there? ¿Qué pasó?
Let's not talk about moscas. Yeah.
Somehow made it to my house here.
Okay.
So, did you guys watch the vice presidential debate?
Yeah, I kind of did. Phil, what's up, Phil?
Hi, Phil.
I hear an echo.
Yeah, I hear one too.
That's gotta.
I think that's Louis.
Yeah.
Que mierda. It's always
I'm having some
me.
technical difficulties today.
It's always me. Okay, go ahead. You guys keep talking while I try to fix my audio.
But yeah, Jackie. So I did watch a couple of parts of it. I kept coming in and out of it because I was watching it on my phone.
How's that?
And
no worse.
Oh shit. Yeah,
flies land on shitheads. Yes, Ivan. Flies do land on shitheads. That was like the most. Look, I think Kamala did an amazing job. I do feel like people, it's a woman in a debate. They're always going to have comments. But I think she did a great job. She had some things that she said. I loved when she was saying, "I'm speaking." And she would smile at him like, "I'm speaking." Like she was reprimanding him. I loved it. And also because he was cutting her off, and rightfully she had the right to say that. And she just made a lot of really great points, and she was very, clear and concise, and the way that she spoke was very relatable. And I feel like he was just spewing all the same regular nonsense that they spew. It was no different. A lot of lies, a lot of BS,
a lot of condescending tones,
right? A lot of what they're going to do that they don't do or don't have a plan for, and a lot of what they did that they didn't actually do, and same thing. But she was good, which was what I was a little worried. I was like, okay, let's see what happens here. Hopefully she doesn't, people don't think that she comes off like an aggressive, combative, woman the way that they did Hillary, and I don't think that happened. That's good.
Yeah.
Whoa. Louis, your sound is having massive issues today.
Yes, sir.
That sounded like the Matrix.
Yep, it was like, yeah, man.
No.
Guys, so you know that right now there's a big storm over Luis's house, and it's not me. Even though I'm the technical director, technically nothing I can do.
This is creeping me out. No.
I love it though.
You know what's crazy is that I have a script that I'm writing about something like this, and this is giving me so many ideas right now. So I love it.
That's too funny.
Okay, so
I think, Louis, you might have to log out and log back in.
Yeah, agreed.
Log back in. You sound. He sounds like
Voltron.
Yeah.
He sounds like Voltron.
But Becky, about that script you're writing.
Excuse me, Gustavo. Take care.
There's a chance that you
having
can
none
be
of
in
that.
it?
We're
I
not
can
having.
audition.
No, we're not having any of that. So, Jackie.
Wait.
Excuse me,
He
Gustavo.
can audition if I can play the audition live here.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting.
Y ahora.
There we
There we go.
sound. Oh yeah, that was funny. You
Yes.
sounded like Mr. Roboto. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
it
exactly
sounded scary.
So anyway, I think it was La Mosca, that fly that stole the show.
Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely.
And as we all know, flies usually land on shit. Oh
yeah.
Epa. Yep. Exactly.
Oh, she did the little snappy. She's like, I support your comment.
Yes. This is the deaf poetry. This is the poetry slam clapping. Yeah.
Mhm. Totally is.
Yes.
Yo, Jackie,
Yes.
I got a question for you.
What's
Who
up?
is Wanda Vasquez Garcel?
I don't know. Who is Wanda Vasquez?
Wait, Casper. Hold on a second. Who is Wanda? I'm going to give you one more chance.
La
Don't Google that
pendeja
shit.
esa.
¿Cuál pendeja?
La pen. Por favor, help me here a little bit, guys.
Okay, she is the woman who is the fake governor of Puerto Rico.
Oh, Puerto Rico.
And she lost in the primary, so she's on her way out. And Caridad de la Luz, that's
Bruja.
right. Ella es una vende patria. So she endorsed Trump.
No, Plástico 45.
Oh,
We
yes,
don't
I
say
saw
his
that.
name here.
Plástico 45. And it's like,
Yeah, I saw that.
Talk about a sellout, man.
Vende
Que
patria.
ella dice que el tipo has done everything.
Sí, that
for
he
Puerto
did everything
Rico.
right, and that Puerto Rico supports him, pero Puerto Rico doesn't support him.
No. So Wanda Vasquez Garcet, I hope you have a happy career, and maybe I could refer you to this place. I know they looking for home attendants that clean bathrooms. So, mira, a ver, I'm just saying. She needs a reference. Llámame.
What do you guys think is going to happen to all these people that have supported Trump during this?
Okay, we don't say their name on this show.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
We say black people.
They're all gonna get private sector jobs. They'll be consultants at certain firms. They'll be just like business as usual. It's a little crazier now with him, but these guys always land on their feet.
That's what drives me nuts about it. It's not fair, man.
Can we get La Bruja on real quick?
If she wants to get on, you know.
Mija,
send that link, Gustavo.
Yeah, I would love to talk to her. I think I met her once a long time ago, but I haven't spoken to her since.
Jackie, nobody asked you.
Word. Nobody was like, yo, Jackie,
it's okay. I'm revealing that information regardless because I feel like it's pertinent.
Oh, shit, Jackie. El bombón is going this way a little bit.
my mojoncito.
Yeah. So, mira, ella está preguntando how. So, mira, you go
click
to that
on the
link right there. What you do is copy that link. Copy that link. And then you got to have Chrome. Go on Chrome. And then you just paste it. And then hit it, and then you'll come on.
There you go.
Big thing.
Find out that Louis getting tech savvy. I thought he was going to get
wow.
Louis is
I approve this message.
From the ping.
Mira.
Right.
Mira, she's in the mountains of Puerto Rico. Honey, too much information, okay? We want you to be safe. Just say you're on the mountain. That's it. Okay.
Yo, what's up? That's so funny. Bruja said that she might not be able to do it. That's fine. And Ivan said, ask La Bruja to unblock me. I don't know what the hell Ivan said to La Bruja.
Oh, there's tea. And accept your friend request. Oh, hi, Ivan. I'm sorry.
Hey, Anita. What's going on?
Mira, lo que está pasando ahí, yo te voy a explicar. That's like some Bronx drama.
Yeah, he was like, yo, okay.
Nada que ver con esto.
Ivan, you my boy, but if La Bruja blocked you, you did some shit.
No, man. Papa, Ivan, just so you know, you are beyond in that hole, okay? I can't keep fine. So,
you don't want me to spill the tea on your ass.
Oh. Mira, Casper.
Oh, drama.
You don't want me to spill tea on your ass, porque mira, esto está caliente como candela.
Damn, we got social media. We'll leave that shit for later because I'm gonna talk to Bruja and find out what happened. I think I believe that I do know, but I hear you.
You can't say that and then not tell us what you think it is. You can't say I think I know what it is and then not say.
Listen.
Okay, I did some shit, but we all deserve a second chance. Okay, Ivan.
Sounds to me like you're owning up to it. All right. Tú estás bien jodido, brother. Pero mira. We'll get La Bruja on another time. And we'll
absolutely.
Yes,
and
please.
We're going to have like our own Bronx Boogie Down UFC chatter going on.
Oh my God, we're going to have like a love fest. Whatever happened, we want you guys to, at the end of the show, happy hearts.
Oh, wow. She just said.
That's real entitlement.
And she said that's real entitlement to even that's real. Oh, wow.
I love Bruja.
Wow.
Bruja's my girl. That's my dog.
Real.
Mira, eso un black and blue que no sea curado.
Pa' que coja.
Those
words came with a chancleta.
I should have, you know what? I wish I would have responded to someone that way, but I didn't. I forgave them, and they never deserved they deserve my forgiveness from afar, but not to be in my life. And Caridad, I don't know what happened, but if it's anything like what happened to me, then Sorry, Ivan.
Yeah, Ivan, you spent all that money on the helicopter.
Yeah, como dice. So mira,
Gotta support my girls.
mi gente, so you guys know, Casper, I'm really proud of you. Jackie, the jury's still out on you, but Casper and I, and we voted early.
Damn right.
Yes.
Damn right.
I haven't gotten my ballot yet, but they sent me a message saying that it was sent in the mail, so I should be getting it soon.
Oh no, I got my ballot. We filled them out, and then we're taking them directly because we still have them here. We were looking to drop them off because the library is like down the block. That's where we're supposed to vote. So on the 18th, we take it right there directly because we found out all the info, and we were like, oh. We can't take it till the 18th. Está bien. Ese envelope sitting there till the 18th. Already signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to mail it. I'm going to drop it off.
Pero mira, mi gente, por favor. It's so important. Your vote counts. We matter. You know, that's your power.
Yep. All jokes aside.
Yes, we do.
And
the reality is that the Latino voice is the most powerful voice in the U.S. right now.
That's right. Pero mira, esto es lo que yo quiero que sepan. Mi gente, los boricuas que viven en Orlando, ustedes tienen un poder que tú no sabes, pero tienen que usar ese poder. Mira, my people, you all got to go out there and you got to vote, my people in Orlando. And just let me tell you something, just because Plástico 45 talked about sending $14 billion for Puerto Rico, that's bullshit. Eso es mierda. Porque te digo
too little, too late. No, please.
Mira, no. Te digo por qué. Porque he could have done, pero es tan intelibruto, right? He could have just said, mira, I want to do away with the debt in Puerto Rico. You know, now you're talking. Pero un come mierda.
That would have been amazing. That'll never happen.
He's trying to buy our people. Oye, come on, people. Nosotros somos orgullosos. Mi gente en Orlando, man, please spread this. You know, use your power.
I live here in Orlando. It's weird the thinking. It really is.
Okay, cuéntame, Casper, dime.
No, I'm just saying it's just really, really. It's just nuts. I feel sometimes that the way people think, they're still stuck like 30, 40 years ago, and and you want to attack one party over the other, but the differences are really drastic. Look, put it this way: the Villages is a section out here que es predominantly older white people que son bien Plástico 45. They were parading in golf carts with Biden and Harris flyers and signage. It's like, Plástico better really think about it, because look, el pendejo ahora no quiere hacer another second debate. They canceled the one that was on the 15th because, he had COVID. He miraculously recovered really quick. He went right to the White House, infected everybody else. Now he's here in Sanford because he's a couple of towns away. Sanford is a 10-minute drive from where I live, and he's out here, and I'm like, keep away, bro.
I think he's still sick. He's very sick.
Absolutely.
They just gave him a steroid that opened up his lungs and gave him a cocktail of drugs that they don't even know if it works yet.
Lo que está pasando es que ese tipo está desesperado. Está desesperado.
Exactamente.
You know what I mean?
How do you guys feel about the call for militias to go and protect the polls? And they have these little militia groups that are going to show up at the polls and stuff. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's like everything else that's going on with this administration. I think it's ridiculous, and I think that they're trying to steal our rights. I mean,
no, and there are actually several groups out there that have been documented, because again, you say something, it's the news, and they say it's fake news, but there have been certain groups of people in front of where you're voting que son supporters of Plástico 45, like screaming and chanting, and that shit is actually against the law. I don't even know why these people are allowed to do that. That's illegal.
Absolutely.
I want to thank my dear friend Calvin Belknap. Voted for Luis Guzman as a write-in for, okay? So,
but you know what's funny? Did you see the write-ins for the other people that?
Yeah, man.
And I was like, who the hell is this Rock whatever, Doc Rock something? They had some really funky names. Other parties that were running for president. I was like, maybe I should vote for one of these soplapotes. But
But you know that if people do vote for those soplapotes, then we're pretty much screwed.
Yeah.
What happened?
I said that if people do vote for those soplapotes, we might be pretty much screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be screwed? Us?
Yeah. I mean...
No, man.
I mean...
Estos soplapotes are going against Plástico.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I feel like the Republican Party doesn't really disclose who they're going to vote for, even in the polls. So I don't really trust polls. I don't, because I feel like a lot of people don't really reveal who they're going to vote for regardless.
Absolutely.
So,
and who's running them? Those people that oversee them.
Mira,
you know.
Y Bruja llamó eso maldiciones terroristas, porque eso es lo que son. Terroristas. You know?
Yep, it's a shame.
I want to say hi to my friend City. I haven't seen you forever. What's going on, girl? It's been many moons. Yeah, and I just want to change the tone because we get.
City, we're
going off on a tangent.
She's in New York on the west side, on the upper west side.
Too much information. But yo, you ever find somebody wrote this, but you ever find yourself and you're lying in bed and it didn't, and somebody said something to you earlier and that shit didn't click into like 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yep. Happens to me all the time. Where I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. Because I often don't listen to I listen to what people say, but I listen to the tone and the intention behind it. And sometimes I don't get that intention or that tone until later. So it happens to me pretty often where I'm like, interesting.
You were like, that motherfucker saying this. It happened. What's up, Liza? Oh my God, that's
okay. So tell me about Liza.
What do you want me to tell you about Liza? She's got curly hair. She's funny. Liza used to live on the west side downtown.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please. Yes.
Casper's horrible singing.
I
have a question. What is a dream of yours that has never come to fruition that you feel like you'd regret if you weren't able to attain before your life is over?
I want to be in a movie with Luis Guzman.
Oh my God! The ass kissing is
bend over, Louis.
You guys were quiet. I had to react.
Casper, go ahead, man.
No. So age before beauty, brother. Age before beauty.
Oh shit! Well, then in that case, both of you guys go first. All three of you.
Mira. Yo te cojo ahorita, Jackie. Mira, I would have to say for me, my dream would be to be able to go to my homeland, to Puerto Rico, and teach people how to build geodesic domes and how to put solar collectors on them, and to teach them. Because, I hear that people in the southwestern side of the island, they're still having earthquakes, man.
Yeah.
And the government of Puerto Rico has forgotten about it. And there's not a vision, So my dream is my vision. And a geodesic dome is the strongest structure that there is. Escucha bien.
Mm-hmm.
Every planet, thank you, Casper. Unlike Jackie, every planet in the universe is what? Round. And what does that tell you? That's the force of nature. The force of nature, okay, molds everything round. You know, so a geodesic dome will not only withstand an earthquake, but it will also withstand hurricanes. Because look at this, a triangle is the strongest structure that there is because the weight gets distributed equally, unlike a square. A square will collapse.
Ooh, you see what Caridad just said? I agree, Caridad. That she thinks that the earthquakes are being caused by covert fracking.
Yeah,
I think so
that could
too.
be that could be the case.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Better off the shore.
That's not the issue. The issue that I'm talking about, my dream, and my
It's how to
dream
fix it.
is to get people out of those cement houses, build a geodet. You could build a beautiful, and you know what, affordable. You know, because how many videos I seen on people's home camera in Ponce and stuff, and all of a sudden there's an earthquake and everybody runs out of the house. Y los gallos están corriendo, y los perros, and it's like, yo, man, that's a tough way to live, man. That's a tough way to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, because you get a really bad earthquake and those houses that are made of cement, people gonna die. But if you build a geodesic dome and you can outfit it so easily with solar collectors, man. So you got electricity, you got protection from earthquakes, you got protection from hurricanes. You know? So that's my dream. And to go to Puerto Rico soon, in the near future, and come up with some kind of financing and show people, Inuits, you know what Inuits are, right?
Yeah, the Inuit, the people that live in Alaska, the natives of Alaska.
The natives of Alaska. They build igloos, and they live in those igloos, and it could be 70 below outside with 100-mile wind storm. But an igloo is what? An igloo is round.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a big piragua.
A big empty piragua.
Okay, so that's my dream. Casper, you've had enough time. Do you have the capacity to tell us?
My dream is to be that funny fat guy neighbor in your favorite sitcom.
Okay.
That's my dream. And don't laugh at me.
Just for you, Jackie. I mean, Casper. We'll see what Jackie and I come up with. I like to say hi. I like to say hello to Andrea Morales.
Saludo.
Hi, Andrea.
Anita. Saludo.
No, y yo quiero saber qué es el bochinche porque ahora Ivan dice, Casper, Louis, tell Liza to unblock me. So basically, La Bruja has blocked them. Liza has blocked them. Like, Ivan has no amigos in this casa.
He's made a lot of bad decisions. Hi, Di Molina. Hi, Di.
What's up, D? Sup, Brooks, baby? That's my homie.
So, my dream would be... Well,
Jackie, nobody asked you. Jackie, you asked.
That's okay. You don't have to ask me. I want to answer it anyway.
Oh, man, really? Okay, go ahead. That's so far, right?
Forget you then.
Jackie,
nobody cares about your dream either, Gustavo.
Okay, go ahead, Jackie. I want to hear it.
I would like to be successful enough to be able to donate my time to helping with just educating children, I think, and helping children that don't have homes and don't have, or that are in violent homes. I believe the children are our future. Sorry, that song just popped in my head because it's true. They are.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I think if we tend to the children, the future will be healthier. That's sort of what I believe. And I also want to live in Paris at some point, but I'll do that. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Thank you for that. Okay, thank you.
Coming soon, the adventure you've been waiting for. Jurassic World Quarantine, starring Dr. Fauci.
All right, folks, we just learned that COVID can be spread to dinosaurs. You, Brontosaurus, why don't you have a mask on? I'm going to climb up your long neck and put a mask on you. Don't you argue with me.
Watch as Dr. Fauci tries to help dinosaurs prevent COVID-19.
I want to see you velociraptors practicing social distancing in your enclosure. Hey, you, why are you so close to that other raptor? I don't care if you're sharing a cow carcass for dinner. What's the matter with you?
Dr. Fauci stars in Jurassic World Quarantine.
Oh no, the Tyrannosaurus is after us.
I know, he's gonna eat us.
That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried that he didn't sanitize his tiny arms. He's got the COVID.
Coming soon.
Oh yeah, Tricky Traki. We're going to be right back with more of the Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez show. Hype through all the way, Brookie.
Looking for a sexy Halloween costume? Then look no further than the Sexy Halloween Costume Shop. We've got every sexy Halloween costume you can think of, like a sexy ballot, a sexy bottle of hand sanitizer, a sexy balloon.
Okay, well, how are these costumes sexy?
Because we put the word sexy in front of them. Sexy mosquito costumes, sexy computers, a sexy fork, all at the Sexy Halloween Costume Shop.
These aren't sexy.
Yes, they are, because we added the word sexy. Dress as a sexy crock pot, a sexy blender, a sexy broom.
How are these sexy? That's not an answer.
The Sexy Halloween Costume Shop. Get your sexy Halloween costume today.
One of them is famous. The other one is only known by his mother. The Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez show.
Listen, let's bring our first guest up tonight. We have on the show. I want to introduce to our friends here on the Luis and Casper show with Jackie Quinones, friend of Jackie's, and then of course, me and her have been talking in the past few days on about her story. We have two authors here tonight. Shawna Baca is the first author that she's going to be talking about her story, and I want her to tell her story. I don't want to over announce it, over details. Yeah. It's all on you, Shawna.
Hi, Shawna.
How you doing?
You guys are gonna let me speak?
Maybe.
I was like, how am I going to be speaking over 3 New Yorkers? Like, it's not gonna happen.
I'm going to be really polite, Mija, and I'm going to go like this anytime I want to speak, okay?
Oh, that is so polite. Does that mean talk to the hand, or that just means?
No, that means can I say something?
He's raising his hand.
So we're going to do this for you, Mija, and you get to choose who you want to speak, okay?
You and I have better odds than the 6 degrees of separation, the Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation, because I know Jackie and Casper, but I don't know you. We're 1 degree. We're 1 degree apart.
Yep, half a degree, technically.
I can live with that.
Yeah. I can live with it too. Those are better odds. Go ahead.
So, por favor, please tell us and our audience about yourself.
Well, I'm a filmmaker, but a couple of years ago, I went back to school because, I wanted to finish my degree. I'd never finished my degree. So I decided to go back to school. And, as somebody who's an adult returning back to school, I was around a lot of young people. And what I started to notice, actually, not to talk politics, but it was around the first time that the first election with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And so there was a lot of kids, young kids, being very, very passionate about this election, that election. And, people were lobbying and everything. And I was thinking, man, when I was 18 or 20, I could care less about politics. But what I started to notice is that, mental health was a big deal on college campuses. I would see kids that had to get up in front of the class, literally having anxiety attacks just to get up and speak. I learned that suicide is the second leading cause of death on college campuses. So then henceforward, right? Like moving forward, I remember on the day that Trump got elected, I mean, the tone, I mean, the whole school just turned into this like morose place, like the world was doomed kind of thing. And so they actually like started to provide counselors for people that, you know, needed to talk to somebody. And I, you know, this was just like a whole different shift from me going to school the first time to, you know, flash forward. Because when I was 21, which was like over 20 years ago, or 25 years ago, something like that. But, you know, when I was at that point, there was not that much known about panic attacks. You know, it wasn't like very popular. People weren't writing books about it. People weren't talking about it. So, you know, I couldn't go and just get on the internet and get all this information. You know, it was very like limited. But one of the things that I did learn about it is that at that time, they said that it was like predominantly like very high like demographics of people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And here I was like 21, 22, and I was like, but I'm not ready to have a midlife crisis, you know? And so like flash forward like 25 years later, the highest demographic of people suffering from mental disorders, panic disorders, depression, you know, suicidal thoughts, anxiety attacks, agoraphobia, are people that are in high school to college, you know, predominantly higher in women still. And I just thought like, how did this shift? You know, like I was 21 having a midlife crisis, but now it's like affecting 17, 18, 19, 22-year-olds. So I just decided to write a book about my experience and how I overcame it, I mean, it was not something that happened completely overnight, but I did a lot of work on myself. So, I mean, I probably spent equivalent to a doctorate degree on, you know, mental health and, you know, exercising the demons.
Wow. So let me ask you, so what, because, well, here's something I want to, because I got like a lot of thoughts right now, but when Plástico 45 got elected, a lot of people don't realize this out there, but, you know, he was going after a lot of the DACA kids, the dreamers. And I was in Chicago last year, and I visited a couple of colleges that were predominantly community colleges and stuff in Chicago that were predominantly Latinos. And I found out that in the first month that he got elected and that he was going to go after DACA kids, there were like maybe 6 suicides in this one college from kids, you know?
Wow.
And so, you know, it's interesting because mental health in this country, man, it's becoming a big deal. I mean, like you said, kids that are in high school, college, you know, veterans, you know, even senior citizens that can't afford to pay for their medication or food, you know? I mean, and it's not being addressed by any means, you know?
Absolutely.
By any means. I don't know if you know this, Mija, but usually every show I announce what the suicide hotline is. And I encourage people that if somebody's going through a tough time to reach out to somebody, you know, because I always tell people, listen, the world is a better place with you in it, you know, get some help, you know. And like, from a personal standpoint, I mean, I gone through my own stuff and panic attacks and stuff, and I had to learn how to control my own panic attacks, you know, because like you say, you know, you got to do all this research to teach yourself a lot of this stuff, you know, because the problem is nowadays, unfortunately, many people go to a therapist or a doctor and they load them up on prescriptions.
Yeah.
And that's not solving the problem.
Right. It's creating a bigger problem. Shawna, the book is about your journey through mental, you know, I want to say strain, essentially. And you talk about agoraphobia. Can you explain what agoraphobia is for people who don't know, and then kind of give us a little bit of insight into some of the things that you talk about in the book?
Sure. So agoraphobia is essentially a term like for fear of the marketplace. And what that means is if you have a panic attack, let's say you have a panic attack at your school, then you're not going to want to go back there to the school. And then let's say you have a panic attack at your grocery store, then you're not going to go to that grocery store. And then if you have a panic attack at your job, you're not going to go back to your job. If you have a panic attack at your best friend's, you're not going to go back to your best friend's house. And basically it just deduces down to the only safe place to be is in your home. I suffered from a panic disorder. So like, okay, I had a generalized anxiety disorder, and then it quickly turned into panic disorder. And then within probably like 4 to 6 months, it went completely to where I didn't leave my house for a year, except for to go to my therapist like once a week, which I had to be driven there. That's how crazy it was. And talk about medication. I actually do want to talk about medication because, there's a lot of controversy between, is it really help or does it really not help? Okay. And I mean, I don't want to put down medication, but I will tell you that early on I was put on Prozac. Everybody was getting put on Prozac, back then in the 90s. It was like the thing, it's like everybody's just getting Prozac for, anxiety, whatever. And I started taking the Prozac, but when I started taking it, I started hearing voices. And I told my therapist, I said, hey, you know what? I'm hearing voices. And she said, oh, no, just keep taking it because it takes a while for it to regulate within your body and for your body to adjust to it. So give it like at least 2 or 3 more weeks. Well, I was having, hearing voices, and the voices were telling me to kill myself and kill my family and all this stuff. And it was just like, holy shit, I was terrified, and you're talking about somebody who's already on the edge of the ledge, and you're giving me these kinds of drugs.
Medication, yeah.
So I literally was like, I don't know, I don't feel right, I don't, and of course I feel like I'm going crazy at that time because, I used to be able to go to the store, used to be able to go to school, used to be able to go to work, used to be able to do all these things, and now I can't, so I was like really getting depressed. And, and I wasn't suicidal per se, but but I was still hearing these voices. And so finally, my mom basically found me under the bed one day, and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like crying, and I was like, I'm hearing voices, well, she's like, what are these voices telling you? I said, oh, they're telling me to kill myself, like that I'm not lovable. I'm not, they're just saying all these things. And she said, okay, that's it. You're done. You're done. And at that point, my mom had felt that Western medicine had failed me. And she's an Apache Yaqui woman. So she took me down to the Paula Indian Reservation, and I saw a medicine man. And I was literally cured that night in a sweat lodge ceremony, which was like an exorcism pretty much. Like it was a modern day exorcism because as I understand it, it's like you have all this energy, right? We're all made of energy and matter. So we have all this energy like built up. And like, I swear, like it's very hard to describe, but I do describe it in my book that inside that sweat lodge ceremony, like whatever was in me was taken out of me. And I haven't had a panic attack since then. But then afterwards, it became the fear of the fear. So when I told I told my therapist, listen, I'm not taking this medicine anymore. My mom doesn't want me taking this medicine anymore. And I told her, about the voices I was hearing, telling me to kill myself and stuff. She said, oh yeah, stop the medication. That's a common side effect with Prozac.
Wow.
And I was like, what the, cause I was 21. I was broken. I was depressed. I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. And then, you trust your doctors to give you the care that you need to get over this. But for me, it could have been worse. Like, what if I listened to those voices? What if I, listen to those side effects?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Louis. Louis in the back with the question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So everything that you say is true, because I remember years ago I went for a checkup, and at the end of it, when you get a physical checkup, at the end the doctor now asks you, do you feel safe at home? Is this all good? This all that? And I was going through some personal stuff, so he writes out a prescription for me. He said, here, take this for 30 days. And it was Alexa that he gave me.
Right.
And so I took it for 5 days. The hairs in the back of my neck were standing up. I swear I thought I was on an acid trip. And my body got so stressed out. And what happened was I picked up my kids from school. I took them to the pizza shop. It was a Friday. They were with their friends, and I'm sitting at the end of the table, and everybody stopped talking. And my daughter said, "Papi, you've been sitting there and you've been making all these weird faces." And I could feel myself doing that, but I didn't know that I was doing that. So I got home. When I got home, what I did was I took all those pills and I flushed them down the toilet. And I called my guy, and he bought me over an ounce of weed, and I was cured. I mean, look, I believe, look, some things work for some people, but not for the majority of people.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's all about this, making money, and not really doing the right thing for people.
Yeah. It's not a one size fits all method. I mean, at all. I think everybody, some people, all they need is someone to talk to, some people, they do need medication. Let's be fair. Some people do need medication, but not everybody, and I don't think that it's fair to prescribe medication to everybody. I don't think that's a great solution.
Shawna, can I ask you, Shawna, what do you feel brought on those panic attacks in you?
Oh, I think that a lot of it is just a lot of underlying emotional trauma that I had in my early childhood. I really do believe that when we get panic attacks, it's because of some trauma or underlying emotional issues that we might not even be aware that we're holding on to. We might not be consciously aware of it, but it's like on a subconscious level. And I really think that if I had, they don't teach us life skills, right? Where do you get life skills, like on how to deal with your emotional parameters, right? You have a feeling and you feel bad. You don't want to feel bad anymore, So we don't know how to process emotions. Today, if I feel depressed, it might just be one of those days. I just might have a bad day. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world, but it might be the end of the world that day. Right. Is my body trying to tell me something? I think a lot of the panic attacks that I was feeling were caused by emotional repression, trauma, loss, that I, the feeling of not being loved, feeling loved, having some abandonment issues, all these things. But when nobody helps you through, I don't know about how old you guys are, but when we were kids and somebody died, they just took the kids off to the side, not really thinking that, hey, they're so young, they don't understand, but kids have emotions too. So, my dad died when I was 7.5 months old, and that left an immense void in my life, and that I don't think that I really processed. That's just one example. And so I feel like the panic attacks were basically my body, my flight or fight going off because there was something I wasn't dealing with.
Yeah. And I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. Like, we're so concerned with IQ, we don't pay any attention to EQ. And your emotional intelligence is really what it is that helps you succeed in life. It's not how smart you are, it's how well you deal with other people and how well you interact with others. And that deals a lot with emotion. So how did you manage your way through that? Like, I'm really curious about the sweat lodge ceremony too. Like, what happened and how you were cured in that ceremony in one night.
Yeah, I mean, that is really kind of, I wish I had a simple explanation for it, other than the fact, because it wasn't medication, it was the power of prayers. It was, basically like psychic surgery in a way where, I had all this pent up fear. Well, that fear is an emotion that's like living inside me. And, I think I was really kind of at that point where it was like, look, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do this. And like, literally, if my life can't change, if I can't feel normal again and be able to do the things that I, was able to do prior to panic attacks and agoraphobia, then I don't want to live anymore. So, I went in there like saying, okay, you know what? I'm broken. Like, God, I don't know if you like hear me. I don't know if I even believe in you at this point, but if there is a will and there is a way for me to get cured, then, please, like, help me. Right. So, and it's usually like when you're in your deepest, darkest times that you find God or you find your spirituality, you find, and I think there's a big component of spiritual, like, when we say body, mind, and spirit, there's, 3 parts to us. It's not just like, oh, okay, hey, you know what? My mind's okay again. Like, I could be spiritually broken, like all 3 of those things I think really have to be balanced. And, I was off balance.
Louis?
Oh, yes, Louis.
I feel like I'm the teacher. Okay.
No, I want to be totally respectful to you because I find this conversation amazing, and a lot of people don't talk about these things. So, but my thing is like, do you still hold on to that spirituality? Does it hold on to you? Do you hold on to God? I mean, what's your anchor?
Yeah, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have a spiritual nature to me. I think that, like I said, that's usually when people find light, enlightenment, or a higher power, or God, however you want to refer to it, the great spirit. I definitely have a connection. I have to connect, to that source of like being, today I'm a Buddhist, so I chant, but, I also was raised by some indigenous women as well. So, I think there's always a love of nature, creation, the creator, God, however you want to look at him. So of course, I could not have gone through what I went through and not be a believer, to be able, because it is still fascinating to be able to say, okay, Western medicine, try to, do this and stuff. And I'm not putting Western medicine down at all, because actually, like, I did have some therapists over the years that helped me with other things, it's like the layers, it's like, unlayering the layers of onions, like peeling a piece by piece to basically, deprogram all of that emotional conditioning. But it is fascinating to go, well, wait, how did that energy, how did I like live with such fear in my life that I was afraid to go outside, literally terrified of going outside, to being prayed over and it's gone. That's why I say it's kind of like a modern day exorcism, because I think some people, like, it depends on which, like, indigenous, like, populations, that I also was drinking a lot too. And I remember sitting with this Mayan elder and I asked him, I said, well, what do you think about people that are addicts, that have addiction problems. And he said, well, it's kind of like a seed. A seed gets planted, you drink, the seed gets planted. He goes, it doesn't happen with everybody, but with some people, they keep feeding that seed until it grows vines. And that vine grows and it grows until it starts taking over all of your body. And then that's how it becomes a spirit, an entity, you know? And I refer to it as energy. We don't know. I mean, you know, sometimes I see homeless people going down the street and I'm like, this guy looks possessed. Like he looks like he needs help, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Go ahead, Louis, in the back over there.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to move on if it's okay with you. Tell us about your art, your writing, your directing. What's going on with that these days?
Well, I've been spending the last few years writing. I have a feature film that I'm at the start of development on. I've sent it around to some competitions, and I've placed in about 4 out of the top 12 like competitions and fellowships. I just wrote a short film based on my book. So I'm hoping that once I, finish all the rewrites, that I will direct a short film off of that. And I have a television writing partner who used to work on the show House. So we have a couple of episodic pilots that we're working on as well.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But we can continue talking about the art, but I wanted to point out that October 10th is a World Mental Health Day.
So, October the 10th. Right now, Casper.
Yeah, which is ironic. See, there are no coincidences because you happened to invite me to be a guest on the day that World Mental Health Awareness Day. And not to plug my book, but I want to give my book to a couple of your readers as a gift today, like maybe a couple.
Who wants a book from Shawna? How are you going to give them away?
I'll mail it. How about we do this? I'll give away like 2 or 3 books, and I will mail.
I'm not going to lie to you. I want one.
I want one too. We all want one.
All right, today.
I love to read, and I think that you are an incredible role model, someone that has experienced, the spiral, and because it's not easy, man. It's not easy. And so to be able to come out of it and write about it, I think that people can relate to it because, like I said, there's so many people that go through the similar stuff. But I think it's also important that people understand you're not the only one. You're not the only one. And when someone does read your book and says, oh, wow, I went through all this stuff and look at, how she dealt with it and stuff. So your book can very easily be a pathway for people to get help or to help themselves too, and understanding their condition,
Yeah, I mean,
and I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Jackie, you got to raise your hand, Jackie. Okay.
Word. What happened?
I think the world right now. I mean, it's no coincidence that I published my book during this time. We're in a pandemic. We have no idea what the future is going to hold. We, are holding out for hope. But this has put a lot of people in isolation. This has put a lot of people in panic and fear. So this book is an open dialogue of just me, one person sharing their story, so another person might relate, and that you're not alone.
I love it. This is the trailer for the book. Can we put the sound down so we can hear it? Is there sound?
There is sound.
Sorry, guys. I was told no sound, so that's the way I
Yeah,
say it.
I know.
Okay. I really love too that it destigmatizes this idea that, you know, mental health issues are bad. You know, the more we talk about it, the more we're honest about what we go through, because I feel like everybody has their demons. Everybody. I don't care who you are. Everybody has their demons. And the more that we talk about it, the more that we make it normal and natural to be able to discuss the things that hurt us, you know, so that it doesn't make us weak. It makes us stronger. And I really commend you for that, Shawna. Like, Shawna and I have talked about this book on multiple occasions, and I always come back to the sweat lodge, because I'm always like, I want to go to that sweat lodge. I think it's such a cool, like, amazing thing, and I'm so glad that it worked out for you, because you're just such an awesome person.
Well, thank you, Jackie. That's so sweet.
You're
All right,
welcome.
I'll give you a book.
True.
Yes.
That's not why I said it, but okay.
Casper that's sitting by the door.
Yeah. No, Shawna, so I want to know, where can you get the book? Where is the book available?
On Amazon.
What outlets? You know,
Get
so
it on
people-
Amazon.
Thank you, Louis, for answering Shawna's question. I'll go ahead and ask Shawna one more time. So, Shawna, where can we get the book? Where is it available?
You can definitely get it on Amazon, or you can also, go to my website, which is at www.fearlessagoraphobia.com. And on there, you will also be able to listen to some audio of me reading the preface and in chapter 1, as well as my blog will go up live probably next week. And so there'll be a lot of different tidbits, but you can also link to the book from the website if it's easier.
Absolutely.
Can I say something?
No.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yes.
I want to say, you know, I believe that we are literally just spirits in this life, and we were giving these very complicated bodies that come with these emotions, that come with all of these, the thoughts. The mind is part of the body, and our spirits have to learn to conquer and control this vehicle that we've been given. And I want to congratulate you for being able to take control of your vehicle, and to be able to express your experience of discovering how to manage, you know, the body and all the complications that come with this experience. And I'm just very inspired by you.
Thank you, Gustavo. Thank you, Gustavo.
You're welcome.
We all have the power, I think, within ourselves to become the person that we want to be. And I agree. We are all spiritual beings on this human journey. And like I said, we're not taught how to navigate, our emotional parameters. We don't, we're not taught, you're born, the doctor used to spank you, take the stuff out, you have your first breath of life. Nobody taught you how to breathe, right? Like, I had to learn how to breathe because I was always hyperventilating. We go through our lives, nobody says, hey, stuff's going to be hard, life's going to be hard, kid, and then if you know all these things and we are given these tools early on, then we will have a better understanding of how to deal with our emotions, how to process our emotions, let them go.
So
Okay, the last question, Louis, go ahead.
I have one more too.
So who is the one that guides that person? I mean, how does that person get the knowledge and understanding of, oh, you're going through this? Oh, well, because like I said, nobody taught us how to breathe, and then we go through all these things, but who is it that we rely on to help guide us?
Ourselves.
Well,
but what happens when ourselves can't do that, or ourselves don't have the capacity? And then
the state takes you, and you become a ward of the state.
Oh my God.
That's when we have to be careful who we keep around us, I think, right? What do you think, Shawna?
Well, I think that, one, it's like you said, reducing the stigma. We need to be talking about this. We're just having a conversation about it, right? I'm just talking about my panic attacks. And then you share that you have panic attacks.
Yeah.
Right? So now, like, 2 out of 4 of us have spoken about our own personal experiences, and whoever's listening might be like, oh, I think I had a panic attack, oh, that's what it was. Or, hey, I'm not alone out there. I think it's really about starting the conversation, the dialogue, and not being ashamed to say that you're having these feelings. That doesn't make us weak. It actually makes us stronger. Being vulnerable takes more strength than me, going, hey, let me show you my muscles, or
Yep.
that doesn't,
all day.
that doesn't bother me,
Absolutely.
So I think it's really about being authentic to our feelings and to self-care. I could say there's a lot of people, like, if you can go see a medicine man, great. If you can't, maybe there's a therapist, maybe there's a support group. There's so many support groups. Like, I joined a lot of support groups on Facebook alone for anxiety, agoraphobia, depression, and these people are reaching out to each other online, and that is a sense of support, a fellowship of feeling like you're alone. So, I think the biggest step is just stepping up to the plate and admitting it. Secondly, if you're going to try to find help, there's books, there's, people that you could just reaching out to, sometimes, like when I was younger, I liked talking to a lot of older people because they've been through life and they have life experience. So if I was feeling a certain way, or I didn't understand something, I would ask them, oh, how do you feel about this? And have you ever felt this way? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend $100,000 to try to get well. There's groups. There's meditation is like amazing. It's just very, very hard for somebody who, has a monkey brain kind of like stuff going to settle down.
That would be Casper.
That would be Casper, he said.
You see, you see how he is with me? You see how he is? That's why I still cry. I don't like the way he treats me.
Are you getting?
I just want to say that, because my buddy Carlo, he just mentioned that that he wished schools would teach kids more about emotional intelligence, feeling our pain, accepting ourselves, feeling our emotions, so we don't get blocked, up in the first place. Mm-hmm. Okay, most of us had to learn all this stuff by the school of hard knocks, because I'll be honest with you, the thing is that unfortunately schools don't teach this.
Some expensive private ones do, but not the ones that should be.
Not even. And the thing is that, we grew up at a time that our parents were working class people. Yeah. And the response that I would get from my mom or my dad, they have to, so you're going to be fine, boom. And it's like they never made the connection, And I think parents are a huge part of our lives,
Absolutely.
But they don't have the capacity, so it's either a combination of nowadays that parents need to step up and really look at their kids. The educational system really needs to step up. And then that individual also should put themselves in a position that they can read a book, that they can read your book. Like I said earlier, to say, oh, wow, this person went through what I went through.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like reading is so important,
Yeah.
And like I say, I just think we have to continue these conversations. We have to continue the awareness, and we have to always let people know, really, this world is a much better place with you in it, and talk about your problems and stuff like that. Because, like I said, a lot of people just bottle it up. Mm-hmm. And like you say, you used to drink, and so many people go through a whole bunch of other stuff, and suicide is real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
Suicide is a terrible means to an end, But again, I just think that it's really, really important that we keep this dialogue open, and because people are in pain, and we all need to help each other. And we need to help complete strangers that we don't even know.
Absolutely.
So, but Mia, Shawna, I just really, really want to go ahead, Casper. What are you gonna say?
No, I was stretching out.
No, I saw Casper going.
I'm excited. It's all good, Papi. It's all good.
Shawna, do you have any questions you would like to ask us?
No, I mean, the only thing I have to say is I am 100% an advocate for being able to teach these kinds of things in school. Life tools, life skills, things that build your self-confidence. As somebody who was, comes from East Los Angeles and went to public school, then to continuation, then to a community college, and then to a state college, and then to an Ivy League college, I could tell you that the difference between, like, when I was in continuation school, nobody cared if I showed up or not. When I was in public school, there were so many people for one teacher to give special attention to. But when I was in an Ivy League, I'm going to tell you, Harvard and Dartmouth and Oxford, they do not breed, they breed winners. They breed, part of the curriculum that I noticed were built like skills and tools and sayings that build your self-confidence, your self-worth. And that's something I never got, from in my community earlier on. And I think those things are important. And I think that should be something that is given to every child across the board, whether you come from poverty or you're going to an Ivy League.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So maybe you should be an advocate for that too.
Yeah.
Education.
Well, Nana, I want to thank you for being with us here tonight. I appreciate you sharing your story. We're gonna see you every so often because this is now your casa, and you're no longer 1 degree away from Louis. You actually got to hang out with him.
So much East Coast love right now.
Yes, baby, yes. And you guys, I also interviewed Shawna on Mujeres in Media. It's a deeper conversation. We go into more about the book, more about her writing and all of that. So that'll be coming out in a couple of weeks. So you guys could check out Mujeres in Media if you want to know more.
And can you tell us all your links and all that stuff if people want to know?
Say my what? I didn't hear you.
Your website, links, social media.
Yeah. Fearlessagoraphobia.com.
Can you say that one more time? Because there's like a lot of slow people out there.
It's at www.fearlessagoraphobia.com.
Okay. All right.
Well,
okay, thank you. And we hope to make contact with you again in the future.
Definitely. Love you, Shawna. Thank you.
That was awesome. I like Shawna. Shawna's cool. I like her. She's got really cool energy.
Yeah, very smart.
Gustavo asked a stupid question, but what are we to expect?
I mean,
Gustavo.
Hold on, I'm gonna help him out here.
When we holding like these serious conversations, you can't jump in like that.
But I thought it was giving. I
mean, in front of the world.
When I was a kid,
on the interweb, when you were a kid.
When I was a kid,
still is.
I had an adult in my life called me stupid until I would cower crying in the corner almost every day.
I'm sorry you went through that.
I know. I don't really want to hear that story.
Oh man!
Look at all his sympathy.
There is. I do want to point something out.
Wow.
It has nothing to do with this conversation. So
at all.
What would you say?
There's this school. If there are any teachers listening to this, there's a school called the Peninsula School in San Francisco that I know a few people that are very well adjusted to life went to. And part of the way that they deal with children's emotions, it's a very expensive private school. They allow kids to cut out of class. There's a downstairs area where it's like a basement where it's just for the kids. It's video games. It's a wall where you can write curse words, whatever you want. They have like a railing that you can slide down. It's essentially a room for the kids. If you get angry, if you get upset, if anything happens, you're allowed to leave class and go to this room if you want, to go outside. And the beauty about it is that 9 times out of 10, most of the kids, because they're not forced to be in class, end up wanting to be in class. And so instead of feeling the pressure from the parents, the kids then want to be in class because of the other kids setting a good example for each other. So it's this different way that they teach that also helps you to develop emotional skills and skills to interact properly. And the teachers actually address emotion. So I think that's friggin' genius, and I wish that more schools would implement it along with meditation practices. Like, I think it's a great idea. Yes, Louis. Louis in the back?
Yes. We're going to start a GoFundMe for you so we can get you a scholarship, Jackie.
So I can go to the Peninsula School?
Yes, Casper.
Do they serve hamburgers every day at the school? I'm asking for a friend.
I don't know, but if they do, maybe you can go too. We can go together.
Yay!
I agree with Carlo, my buddy Carlo, that the Waldorf school do a pretty good job as well. I think they do a great job.
I've never heard of them. I'll look into it for sure.
Yeah.
These days, with flu and who knows what else going around, I'm switching up how I do Halloween.
Trick or treat!
Okay, hold out your hands.
Cake! Hey, that's not candy!
Nope, it's hand sanitizer.
I hate you!
Yeah, well, consider this then. The flu virus is everywhere, you little germ wagons! How many doorknobs have you touched tonight? So make a healthy difference this Halloween. And sanitize those little trick-or-treaters.
This message brought to you by the makers of hand sanitizer. We've got this flu season Halloween thing all figured out.
Hey, Matt, you like what you're listening to? We'll be right back after this.
Coming to the Food Network. It's the cooking show you've been waiting for. It's Cooking with Dr. Fauci.
Okay, today we're going to make a delicious chicken parmesan. First, put on your mask, then grab the chicken and roll it into breadcrumbs, then take off your mask and smell the chicken. Make sure it's good. Now put your mask back on, you moron. What's wrong with you? Now preheat the oven and take off your mask and put it back on.
You'll love watching Dr. Fauci prepare delicious meals.
All right, time to taste it. Take off your mask. Take a bite. All right, put your mask back on. What's wrong with you? Chew, chew, chew. Take the mask off and take another bite. Wow, so succulent. Put the mask back on, you fools.
It's Cooking with Dr. Fauci. Coming to the Food Network.
One was a social worker. The other one used to sell beepers. The Luis Guzman and Casper Martinez Show.
Casper, you want to bring in our next guest here?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and get the party started. We're going to keep it moving. All right, guys. We're going to get ready for the next person that's coming up over here. First time I met her was... No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we're going to bring up our next guest, friend of ours for a very long time. I actually met her back in the days when she did that Yao Ming commercial that people talk about. And I just wanted to point something out before anything else, April. Hold on, before anything. I made this note. Give me a second. I made this note for myself.
A proper entrance.
Exactly. Gustavo's on acid. Hold on. I'm going to work it again. Give me 1 second, April. I'm going to do rewind with you over here. Okay? All right. Thank you there. Because Gustavo's got worse cues than a... Anyway. We know her from the movie Freedom Writers. We also know, and I was writing this down, I go, she's worked on pretty much every nurse show out there, from Nurse Betty to ER to New Amsterdam. So I want to bring my homegirl, April Lee Hernandez, or April Hernandez Castillo, or April Castillo Hernandez, or Hernandez Castillo. I want to bring her on. Hello,
there
April.
we go. That's a proper entrance, Gustavo. Hi,
Hello daw. Louie, coño, tanto. This is crazy.
So good to see you.
Yo, if you hear some children screaming in the back, that's just,
It's life. Life.
Gosh. Hi, y'all. Happy Saturday.
How many children are we talking about here?
2 to 5, maybe. There's 3 missing. Kidding. 2 girls. I have 2 girls.
What are their ages?
So Summer Rose is 8, and then Lila is 3, going on 45.
Oh yeah, there's always that one.
She's fire. Like she's
Pero mira que es la madre. ¿Quién es la madre?
Everyone says that, and I'm like, but I wasn't like that as a child. Like I was, chill.
Where do you go?
I think I was. I hope so. And then, I'm here in my my very expensive loft, aka my daughter's room. So
I see. I know you're pimping. I mean, look at the backdrop. I see the picture back there. Styling.
We want to go to Paris sometime. Oui. There you go.
Hey.
But yeah, what's going on? This is exciting.
Yeah. Well, we're here now, and Casper and I have been doing this for a while, and we recruited Jackie because we like pillows in the background. You know what I mean?
She's such a butthead. No, I like Jackie in the show not only because she asks great questions, but she also looks like a pawn piece or the bishop in a chess board right there.
I thought you said porn piece. I'm like, oh, Cass.
No, like that's messed up. I don't even think Jackie's even listening to us.
I don't think so.
I can hear bits and pieces. My connection is really bad right now. I don't know what's happening.
Good.
I got the bill.
Pay the bill.
Oh, now I can hear you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And April, look, Bruja says Casper introduced me to April.
Wow, that's Gotti. What up, Gotti?
So, Mia, tell us what you've been up to these days.
Just trying not to lose my mind during quarantine and COVID, but I made good use of my time. And so I decided to write my memoir called Embracing Me. Trying to write, being a mom, everything else was kind of insane in the membrane. I don't know how I got through it, but finally in November it will be launched. So I'm super excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did the idea for the book come about? What was the inspiration to it?
Well, I think when COVID hit, right? Like I'm a speaker, I'm an actor, and all of those opportunities, everything went completely shut down. And my friend was like, well, why don't we just work on your first book and put, just re-edit it and put out another chapter or whatever. And I said, okay, cool. But as we went through it, it needed more work. And there were parts of my life that I didn't share. And so we literally just wrote an entire book. Well, I wrote an entire book and my publisher was like, working with me. So I get to share things about Hollywood, how I became an actor, which I rarely ever share when I'm on stage speaking.
So what's the hardest thing about you being an actor in Hollywood?
Trying to get the next job. I think right now for me, the most difficult one is these self-tapes. Like self-taping at home, it's just not the same as going in the room. Like the energy is completely different. You're creating whatever you think, right, is good for this role. But when you go in the room, if a casting director thinks that you could do something different, they give you notes right there. With this self-tape, you go on and like, that's it. And then everything else, the pressures of like, I have to put my daughter to sleep because, she's Tarzan. So she's constantly screaming and she doesn't be quiet. And I'm like, Mama, that's not going to get me the job. So I think that's the most difficult thing right now is just these self-tapes and not knowing when we'll go back to in-person castings. I miss that.
Okay. I know, I hear that. I mean,
Not that you, I don't remember the last time you auditioned, but other actors, we still audition.
Yeah, Louis don't audition.
You
Come
haven't
on, are you
auditioned
kidding?
since you did freaking, I don't know what.
No, where's your sign? Where's your sign? Where's your
Like,
sign?
April, I just want to say, yesterday I had to do this whole Zoom thing,
right?
Because they wanted me to see the chemistry for this other woman to work with me,
right,
on the show,
right.
And it was like the first time I ever did something like that. You know, I mean, I'm trying to help them out, but it felt so weird. It felt so impersonable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't really feel a connection. You know what I mean,
bro?
And mira, it was two different women that I read with, and at the end they're asking me, "So, yo, who do you think?" And it's like, really, I go either way because it's hard for me to tell this way.
Right.
You know?
Well, you're more than welcome to give them a headshot, just in case you need a connection.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is, bro. It's, right now, like, Broadway is shut down, until 2021. I think of every actor, I think of every makeup artist, I think of lighting, I think of crew, all these people that completely, this was their livelihood. And now, it's been pushed back even further. It really
next summer.
Like it's just ridiculous. Like, why does it need to be that far? Like, so I can't even imagine all the houses that are going to close. As a performer, that's all you want to do. You don't want to do anything else. You just want to be on stage. You want to do what you want to do. And now that's been taken away from all of us, if you think about it. So it's sad.
As a mom,
yeah,
and having two daughters, and before the whole COVID stuff,
right?
And you go to work. How do you juggle career and parenthood?
Well, at 8:59 a.m., you just crack open a bottle and you get through the day. If it wasn't for like me having my family, my dad, my mother passed away 3 years ago. So yes, thank you. So it's, I've had my father around all the time. So if I have to shoot, so far I haven't, the last thing I shot was I did work on New Amsterdam. Thank you for reminding me that I've done almost every
hospital show.
That was hilarious. I'm like, oh snap, that's so true.
You're like, oh shit, you're right, Nurse Betty, ER.
Like, oh yeah, let's go. I worked on New Amsterdam, and so we shot in Brooklyn, so it was beautiful.
How can I help?
I got to drive to work, and then I went home. But I think if I travel now, I don't know. I will have to cross that bridge when I get there.
Okay.
It's scary, because you like for me to leave, but at the end of the day, mommy has to work.
Right.
Got to make some money.
Yeah. So April. So embracing me.
Yo. Yes.
Embracing me.
Yep.
Did I ask you, like, what was the motive, the inspiration for you to write this book?
Embracing me? I mean, like I said, I was originally going to recreate or just re-edit my book, but there was something about, the active embracing of yourself, right? That's a full acceptance. And I share, like, I was in an abusive relationship as a teenager. I was abused from like the age of 16 to 19. I had suicidal ideations. I've tried to take my life twice. And then, I had an abortion from my abuser. So it was all of these things. As a speaker, I've always spoken about like my abuse, but I've never been public like about the abortion and what that does to a woman's mental health. And I said, okay, I think it's time. So I've been able to fully like embrace all of me up until now. So I'm not afraid to talk about anything anymore. So if people pull anything out of me, I'd be like, let's just talk about it. I'm not in a place that I'm ashamed or anything. So there's an act and it's continuous, right? I think as adults and as human beings, we are continuously embracing new stages of our lives.
Right.
But being able to handle and take all those situations and still become successful, right? So when I was in my abusive relationship, when I finally left, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to become a movie star. Like I focused so hard. And I was in college and that's when I found acting. And then I did the Yao Ming commercial and it literally just like happened. And then I met Casper and he was such a big part of my early like career and just like choosing to use that negativity and make it work for me. You know what I'm saying?
Did you call me negative? Is that what you just did? You just said all the.
I don't want to say it to your back, so I'm saying it to your face. You feel me?
Well, let me ask you something. How did you get out of that relationship?
I mean, I woke up one day and I wanted to kill myself. I was like, well, I'm just gonna either like, I don't know, drink some pills or do something. So I think, when you come close to death, the way I experienced it as somebody's hand and choice, it's one of those moments where it's so surreal when you are that close to death, not only by someone that you love, but even just the thought of suicide is just as threatening as the act. I think what happens with suicide, people assume that the person who's committing it is in this like psychotic state. A lot of them are actually in places that they feel the most peaceful because you're taking control, right, of how your life is going to end. It's sort of gothically poetic, right? Like I take control of how I want to end this. And so I almost came to that place and I was like, man, if I could just live, if I can just push through, I wonder what my life would be like. And then look, I'm 40 and I have an amazing husband. I have 2 children. Just imagine had I taken that, my parents would have been without a daughter and I would have never accomplished half the things that I've done.
Okay, but can you tell me how did you get out of that relationship?
So I just called him and I said, it's over. I just broke up with him. I just was like, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm done. I'm over. And I broke up with him and that was pretty much it. Now, when I became pregnant, it was because I went back to him because, he was my first boyfriend. He was in every way. So that's all I knew. Unfortunately, in one of those little sexcapades, that's when I got pregnant.
Ooh.
And then I know it was so bad. Don't judge me. Pray for me. And so then when I had the abortion, I was like, okay, I'm completely like done. And I never saw him again. Now that's not normal, right? That's not the normal situation. But I think anybody who's been abused, everyone has like a threshold. You feel me? Like everyone has that moment that you'd be like, no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it ends with me. Or you don't. And it's, unfortunately, that's just the reality as well.
Yeah, because I've heard situations where, be it a man, be it a woman, they end up so many times going back to that abuser. And
right.
It's that vicious cycle.
Like a yo-yo, yeah.
Yeah. So it actually takes a woman 7 to 8 times to actually leave a relationship.
I didn't know that.
Great.
Yeah, for that you can look that up. It actually takes 7 to 8 times. Now, just imagine that in a span of how many years? Okay, so for me, 3.5 years was all my threshold could take. But you have women who I've met that they've been in relationships for over 20 years, and then they finally leave, and maybe that is the 8th time. So it can take however long.
Right. And was he okay with you just leaving? Because a lot of times in those abusive situations, the men don't, however they handle it. Yeah.
I think that was the prayer that I prayed. I said, God, I need you to help me. And I really feel like that was a miraculous moment for myself, because you're absolutely right. That doesn't happen. And he was, he was psychotic. He was crazy. He was.
In your book, April, do you write about what kind of abuse you went through?
Yeah. So I experienced more of like the emotional, and the majority of it was physical.
Okay.
So from anything from, whatever you can think probably happened. Choking, punching. We were on, I write in my book that we were on the 95, the West Side Highway. And he was like going probably 95 miles an hour. Now, you all know the West Side Highway. And he was like, I'm going to just crash this car and we're going to just die. And like, I literally was pleading for my life. I was like begging him. And I think in some sick, demented way, like he was really enjoying that. He was enjoying me.
Yeah, he was getting off on that shit.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So,
Definitely.
I don't know where he is now, and I don't care to know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jackie. Go ahead.
I'm curious to know, because a lot of times it's a cycle. Like women end up with the same, or even men who get abused end up with the same type of person. So how were you able to break that cycle?
Great question. So I never grew up in an abusive home. My mother was abusive, right? Verbally and emotionally, but more towards the ending of her life towards me. We had a very tumultuous relationship. But at the end of the day, I still had like a mom and a dad, and my dad was a very positive role model. So he would always tell me, like, a man who loves you doesn't hurt you, doesn't do this, doesn't do that. And he wasn't abusive towards my mother. So it wasn't, that wasn't something that I was supposed to accept. It just happened, and that's why I always share. I went to Catholic school. I was a straight A student. I was an athlete. But it just happens. Like it can happen to anyone. And I think that's what's the scariest thing. And that's what makes it so hard for people to understand abuse, right? Because they'd be like, Nena, just leave.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
But why would somebody stay or whatever? And it really is difficult to understand the mind of a victim and the mind of an abuser.
Really quick, do you find the longer that, because I experienced kind of the same type of thing, but the longer that you're in the situation like that, the more what's normal kind of shifts and you get used to what a new normal, right? Maybe talk about that. How did you break out of your understanding of what's normal to then be able to...
Hold on, April, give me a second. So some girl was abusing you, bro? Is that what you're saying?
See, this is why men don't talk about it.
Yeah.
They're made fun of.
Yeah,
go ahead, but in details, go ahead.
In detail. Well, this crazy girl that God rest her soul, God bless her, threw a chihuahua at me, destroyed my property. We went through a lot of different things, but like I said, you get used to that as being normal. Verbal abuse, physical abuse, and then it becomes normal. And then why don't you just leave? Well, this is normal now, right? So how did you break that?
There's a fair amount of manipulation involved too. There's that, the fight and then the makeup. And the makeup is usually like 20 times better than another relationship that's normal. And so you get addicted to that high. And there's this expectation and then you get used to it. Right? Is that how it was with you, April?
I think for me, I remember I was a teenager. So a lot of the times too, when you look, no one falls in love with a beast.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to fall in love with who's like a monster right away.
Mm-hmm.
They are brilliant. They are masters at showing you someone that they're really not. So that's the person that you fall in love with. And I feel like sometimes, especially as women, especially Latina women, we have the ay bendito syndrome. We're like, ay bendito, pero like, who's gonna be there for him? And like, who's gonna,
You just gotta accept them and don't get them mad.
Understand it, and
yes, exactly.
Like, it's just a thing. And then on top of women, we're naturally nurturers, and we want to fix everything, and we always be like, oh my gosh, but like, and at the end of the day, they're grown ass men who are making a very conscious decision. Anyone who abuses, especially as they get older, sometimes they haven't been exposed to abuse. Sometimes they're not alcoholics. It's just because that's what they do. And I think we make too many excuses on why does a man abuse? Coño, because he wants to. I know that doesn't sound good, but that's the truth.
That's the meat and potatoes. They're conscious of what the decisions they're making.
If you think about how meticulous they are when they are planning on how to keep you controlled, you're like, if you did that, you could go to college and get a degree and become someone. You feel me? Like, yo, Papa, if you were that meticulous, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Exactly.
So I think it takes a minute for the person who's being abused to understand that, oh, wow, this is not just one time.
And to realize you're being abused, because you never think you're going to be that person.
Because it doesn't happen. Let's say the abuse doesn't happen constantly, right? So there's gaps. So that's when you think, okay, maybe it's something I did. But that's when you begin making excuses. Maybe it was something that I wore. Now that's when you become like, okay, maybe it is me. And then by the time you know it, it's years later.
Exactly.
That shit is scary. Because
it's very scary.
You get, for lack of a better word, you get comfortable with it, with that kind of scenario. You're not looking for an out. You're actually looking at, how can I please him so he's not mad at me anymore?
How can I fix this? Because it wasn't like this before, and where did it go wrong? Yeah.
Or most importantly, like, how do I? So what abuse does, it silences your voice. So you're just like, I'd rather not speak. I'd rather not be seen. I'd rather just do, especially for, if you think about women who are immigrants and they don't have papers. I mean, that's the first thing that they threaten you with. So in your head, you're like, I'd rather be abused than be somewhere else in a country that I'm going to struggle for the rest of my life. Does it make sense? No, but that's their story.
It's very manipulative. Like, the men who do this are extremely manipulative.
And women. There are
women. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
There are women that, we more and more you're seeing a lot. But the reason why we talk so much about men is like the majority of phone calls that police receive, right? It's like $13 billion that corporations spend on women who have been abused, right? So because they're calling out, because they're sick, because they're not making it to work. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence, right? 1 in 10 teenage girls will experience some form of intimate partner violence. Girls from the age of 16 to 24, I was that girl. That's how early it starts. So for parents, if you're thinking that it's not happening to your kid, you will be surprised. Because kids are very, they won't tell anybody. They'll tell their friends before they tell anybody else.
Yep.
When was the first time you told anybody about it?
Oh, I mean, once I left, I think it was my husband, who I'm with now. We've been together for 19 years. And I met him like when I was 21. And he was like the first person that I felt comfortable with. My family knew that my relationship was not right. I don't think they knew the severity of it. My father didn't find out till 10 years later.
Oh, wow.
And then when he read in the book that I, tried to take my life, he was like, oh my gosh.
We didn't know that either.
No. Nobody knew about it. I should have won an Oscar, honey, for how.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, because we rolled heavy for years and never that I knew.
Are you for real? Oh my God, Casper, is this
never,
time?
ever, yeah. This is the first time I'm hearing this side of April, which is crazy.
Yeah, I was just, because I just felt like, man, I survived. I'm not a victim, and I refuse to allow anything like that to ever happen to me. So, the typical like Latina thing, like you just sweep it under the rug and you keep it moving, like you were saying before. But it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous to live that way. But it wasn't until 10 years later that I decided to begin sharing my story as I became a speaker. So now that's what I speak about, like across the United States.
Did you ever go through therapy for this, or anything?
No, I went to therapy. I went to therapy because I had postpartum and I tried to kill myself as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
2
times.
How? Okay.
Louis, you're breaking up. All we heard was okay.
Okay.
So it happened to you, right? Doing both?
Yes. So the first time was when I was in my abusive relationship, and then my second suicidal ideation was after, like, I had postpartum, and it was just, like the worst thing ever. I went into my bathroom. I had a bottle of Percocets and a glass of water literally in my hand, ready to swallow them, while my daughter was crying in the next room. So I called up my therapist. I was like, Mira, this is not good. I need help.
Yeah. Talk to us about that help.
Yeah, and listen, if anybody's watching and you see me laughing, it's not that this is not serious to me. It's just because I've done so much work on myself, and I want people to know, like you can get past it. You know what I'm saying? I don't speak from a place of brokenness, or I speak from a place of knowledge and willingness to help and hope, right? But the mental capacity, the mental health part of that, I found after when I had my daughter, because I never wanted like children. I can't say I don't want them to hear. I never wanted children. It was really hard for me to have children. And when I did, my first daughter, I had severe postpartum, and it was really, really lonely. I felt like I didn't dare say anything because all the women in my family, they popped the babies out and they found the way. And so there's like a literally like a disconnect. It feels as if like an alien takes over your mind. It takes over your body, and you see your child, but there is no connection. Louis, I know you have several children, you love your babies, and they're all different, but it's one of those, like, when I looked at her, I was like, oh my God, my life is over. And there was no connection right away. And then I felt like I lost my career, and I felt like I gave up everything. And that to me was like the biggest thing, the hardest thing that no one talks about. I think people romanticize motherhood and being a parent way too much. I think social media does a really bad job. Because you compare yourself, you're like, wow, she lost the baby weight in 11 weeks and I'm over here still 5 years later.
I still got my baby weight. It's been years.
All my children are elastic on the side and I feel like I lost weight.
Right. I think it's fascinating though. Like, I don't have children, but I have a lot of female friends that are very close to me that confide in me, and they all tell me the same exact thing that you're saying right now.
Right.
That society expects that women have children and that they're just in love and that they don't have a life after they have kids. And how do you reconcile that? And I think it's really, really important for women like you who are in the public eye to talk about these things, to make sure that other women know, like, hey, we all go through it. This is normal,
Listen, I did a whole TED Talk last year. I did my first TED Talk on TEDx. It's called The Gift of Transparency. And I spoke about the whole, how hard it is to be a mom, and it's just not easy. And I think it wasn't until I was in therapy that my therapist allowed me the space to be like, yo, I feel bamboozled. The next person who asked me how's motherhood, like, I'm going to be so honest. And she was like, well, then that's what you need to do. And that's what I did. So the person, I remember I was in church, Lord forgive me. And they were like, hi, Nana, how you doing? And how's motherhood? And I was like, oh, I hate it. I was like, God bless you.
No te preocupes. Eso se te va. Eso se te va.
No, she didn't know what to do. But I walked away and I was like, Santo, hallelujah. It was, I felt like Al Pacino. I felt like an Al Pacino in oh my gosh, Carlito's Way, when he was like, free at last. Like, it was just that moment. Oh, wait, weren't you in that film? Hey, you were in that movie.
Yeah.
So let me
Full
ask
circle.
you. Let me ask you, April, because I like to know, and I think it's important that people know this. But how has church helped you?
I would say more of my faith.
How has your faith helped?
Oh, I mean, I am only here because of who God is in my life. And I would not be here. I think about that teenage girl who was in her room wanting to just end her life. And I prayed a very, very real, simple prayer. I was like, God, if you can save me, I'm not ready to die. It was so honest. And I grew up Catholic. I didn't really understand. I just knew like God is greater than me. And then he let me live. Man. So he's let me live several times. So I feel like, all right, God, you're not done with me. So here I am. And I share that in my book as well. The chapter's called Wrestling with God, because I feel like a lot of us might wrestle with God or wrestle with faith. And we don't feel safe enough to even say like, I was angry at God, or I was a little indignant towards him. You feel me? Like I'm not really appreciating how you made that happen. So I write that in my book, and I think it's going to be freeing for someone to be able to read that, because I don't think a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
That's real. Like you think about so many things that are happening in this world, and the question you ask is why? Why, God? Why is this happening? I stopped asking why, and I just ask what. What am I supposed to learn? How do I move forward? So God is everything in my life.
That's awesome.
Even the obstacles.
I just be like, look, Jesus saved my soul. He ain't saved my mouth. So I still got a little,
Hey, it's a work in progress.
and I'm embracing it.
and you should be,
Yeah. I just feel like, listen, whatever you're going to believe in, that's you, but just respect what I believe in. I feel like we live in a society today, man, that if I don't believe or agree with what you're saying, automatically, like, you want to
down.
me.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut you down. And you're like,
I'm going to delete and block you from my life. Not even Facebook.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, but it's very true.
Mm-hmm.
It's very true, because I've seen people do it. I've been guilty of that, and
yeah, but like, why? Like, I don't understand.
But you didn't let me finish.
God, sorry, I just want to know why.
I mean the why.
No. I'm saying not you. Why? I'm saying just in general. Why are we like that as a society?
I just think because people are misinformed, people are disconnected, people don't talk to each other enough, people don't respect each other's feelings, beliefs, and I think if we communicated more, it's that saying, what works for you, but it might not work for me. But you know what? That's okay.
Right.
Because maybe you still have not discovered yourself yet. You know what I mean? And so, but like I said, I just feel that people need to put themselves in the position to, hey, let's talk. Because I have friends. There's people in my life that come from extreme views.
Right.
But I have learned, and I'm continuing, because life is a continuation of a lesson.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I have learned to listen to people, to not be so opinionated.
Right.
And I'm saying, like, when it comes to mainly friends and families, because I have friends that they were like local and shit back in the day.
Right.
You know, you couldn't tell. And then all of a sudden they like flip. And it's like, yeah, man, I go to church every Sunday. This is my belief and everything. And it's like, but that's cool. So we talk about it and it's good. It's
right.
good, you know, because we all need something in our life.
I agree. You know, I think when a person first comes to faith, and I think, you know, Casper, that's what probably happened to me. I was a little extreme about it because it was something so new and I didn't really have a lot of guidance, but I've like grown so much where I'm just there like, look, Papa, at the end of the day, it's whatever you want. I'm doing me. If I could show you love, if I could show you hope. Listen, you know, one of my nieces, she's in a same-sex marriage, and you know, we have the most amazing relationship, and she stayed in my house with her wife, and I had to talk to my 8-year-old about same-sex marriage. But you know what was so amazing? That all my daughter saw was love. You know, that I was able to have an open and honest relationship from her and her father. I didn't allow anyone from society try to dictate and tell my daughter what she should believe. Like that's when it becomes, that's when I get a little iffy. But I had a beautiful relationship and conversation, and it, you know, she stayed in my house and like she's the love of my life, and I fully accept her for who she is. I can't tell her who to love. Who the hell am I?
And in the same respect, she can't tell you who to love.
Exactly. And I think there's a mutual respect for one another, and she knows what I believe and I know what she believes. And at the end of the day, I'd rather have her alive than kill herself or hurt herself than because of what my beliefs are. Because at the end of the day, it's not what I believe. You know what I'm saying? I don't get easily offended. Offense is a choice, you know? People get offended because they allow themselves to get offended.
And you know what? You've grown. You have grown. You have, you know, from hearing this conversation and stuff like that, it's like, it's a beautiful thing. Because like I said, listen, we live in a world that nowadays, I can't tell you like how many of my friends will call me up and say, and they go through changes.
Right.
They go through major changes. Oh, my son just told me he's gay. My daughter told me she's just a lesbian. You know, and this and that. And it's like, but you know what? And it's like, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And it's
like it's a mistake.
It's like, no, man. It's the world that we live in.
Right.
And they're still your child. And you must embrace them. And you must love them because that's their choice, you know?
Right.
And you still have to guide them to be a good individual.
That's what I say. I go, listen, you're lesbian, you're gay, transgender, whatever it is. Like, I want to know that you're a good human being. Are you making an impact? Are you, just because you're living one way, just because you identify as something, that doesn't give you the license to, you know, act less human. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that you should have that you shouldn't have morals or you shouldn't have a standard. At the end of the day, I don't care. Have morals, have standards, and do your best. Listen, I'm not trying to get biblical, but Jesus, right? He left 2 commandments in this world. He said, love your neighbor as you love yourself, and love God with all your heart, mind. Like, that is what I live by. So how could I love myself and love God, but yet whatever my neighbor doesn't do or live by, then I'm not going to love them.
Yeah.
That's just
welcome to America.
Well, you know what? I love everything that I'm hearing from you, and I'm really proud and I'm really happy that we have reconnected.
So am I.
Because these conversations are very enlightening and they're very important to have.
Right.
And I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I am happy for you. I am genuinely happy for you. You're a mom. You know, you've gone through the changes that you've gone through. You persevered. You know, you have your faith, which is a beautiful thing to have. You know, and you're still a badass. You know, so you got it all working.
I'm just
You know what I mean?
I'm just a girl from the Bronx on a mission to inspire the world.
That's
What
right.
I tell people. I'm a Bronx girl at heart. I could be at Harvard. I could be on a TEDx stage. But at the end of the day, I'm a hoops wearing, bun wearing.
Ya veo.
Yeah, tú sabes, like
Tonight is bun night.
Tonight's bun and hoops.
Yeah, listen, this is the J-Lo look. You can't go wrong.
You know.
When all goes wrong, you go, espérate, hold on.
Right,
Louis, you and I didn't get the memo. Like, I don't have any hoops or a bun. I would have.
Papi, I do have an earring. Okay.
Oh God.
Oh, he does.
It's viste.
No lo
It's a little hoop.
I mean, I got to make sure you get. I want to make sure all of you get a book.
Yes, please. I'm dying to read.
You get a book.
really
It's like
wanna read it.
Oprah. You get a book.
Yes.
Listen.
Hey, bro, call me when you're giving out the car, please.
Listen. How many of us, come from where we do, and really get to write something that will be long lasting, and it's really a huge accomplishment that when anyone can put their words and put them on a paper and create something that you hope impacts people, and not many of us get to do that from where we come from. So this is very important, and having supporters like you all really just helps the cause. So yeah, whoever's watching, go buy the book.
Well, no, definitely go buy the book.
Listen, so I just want to say again, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
My regards to your husband, my love to your children, to your dad.
What's up, Zalo?
Zalo.
To your dad, and I just want to thank you for sharing this story, this amazing story.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing it with the world, for being an inspiration.
Amen.
To the world, to other women. And we want to invite you back again.
I'd love to have you on
Yeah.
Head of the Media too, and get a little bit deeper into some of this conversation about what's happened after I read your book.
I would love
Yeah.
to. Absolutely. Please.
Can
Let's
you tell us your social media handles, por favor?
Can you tell us your social security? I'm like, Papa, hold on.
Yo, we
What
freezing
is the
off,
PIN
yo.
number? What's the
Slow
PIN
that shit
number?
down.
All right. So if you are on Facebook, my handle is April Castillo. And if you are on Instagram, it is at April L. Hernandez. If you go right now to Instagram, the link to my book is there, but they should be providing you with the email. With the website. Hopefully they can all, will that be provided?
Yeah, the website right on the
Awesome.
Facebook page.
And so right now we are in the pre-sale orders. For those of you who purchase the book now, it will be autographed and it's a hard copy. Once we launch the date, I believe it's hopefully November 10th or 17th. After that, it'll go into paperback. So we're doing a nice hardback autographed copy by your one and only.
Can I get an autograph?
I want one too.
Listen.
I have one question.
Oh, snap.
What?
Does the book have pictures?
Casper won't read it if it don't.
Oh my God.
Casper, it's a book about domestic violence, dude. Come on.
Yeah, so when you open that chapter, there's a huge fist that comes out, just
It's a pop-up book.
It's a pop-up book.
It comes with every 100 book comes with a chancleta.
Listen, I have a whole thing about my mom's chancleta in there. So
we can all write. We should have like the chancleta, that chancleta chronicles, and everybody tells their chancleta story about their parents.
Yo,
seriously,
listen, my mother had her chancleta, and I never knew where it was, but she always had it. Like
my mom was a ninja.
She had her bata. It was so long, but that chancleta would come out like a boomerang. Like a
Yo, my mother's chancleta used to go around corners, yo.
I was just gonna say that. Seriously. My mother's chancleta would go down. My mom's in the second floor. We were in the basement. That shit would follow us down there just to let us know.
Damn.
Yo, my mother's chancleta used to take the elevator.
And it smelled like the belt. You know, so you were confused because you were like, yo, chancleta.
Yeah, we didn't have a
Correa,
chancleta in my house. We had the correa, and that correa was always hanging behind the door so that we knew if we did something wrong, that was the correa we were going to get hit with.
You know what the worst part was? When that correa came and you grabbed it and you caught it? What?
I never
Don't let go.
Yo, or if you block the chancleta. I know you guys have to go. Much love.
We love you.
Thank you.
Again, I'm so happy and so proud of you. And por favor, keep doing it. Be that inspiration, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for sharing, April.
Hi, my love, and let's stay connected.
I'll reach out.
I'll send an email ahorita mismo with both of your infos to each other.
Okay,
so
great.
That way you guys could set it up.
Casper.
Thanks,
I love you. April. We'll talk later.
Bye.
So yeah, man.
I'm so inspired to write a book now.
Okay.
Like, this is amazing.
Yo, I gotta say a couple of things here. Ivan Sanchez, you have been out of line the whole night. You gonna be set, okay?
I didn't even notice.
I mean, for Liza, you know, bro.
I don't know what happened.
Here we are talking like some serious shit. Y tú como el pendejito little kid in the back of the room. Coño, papá, come on, man. You like having a dual conversation. Y yo te estoy velando because I see everything that's going on here. So, nene, por favor, okay? Get it together. Go ahead, say something, Casper.
I'm just enjoying the drama because I don't know what the hell's going on, pero Ivan la cagado con todo el mundo. Because if you fucking La Bruja and with Liza, who are two amazing women, I don't know. I mean, I love Ivan, but he done some shit.
Shit.
And then we're talking all night, and he's over here. Yo, bring up the pictures.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, I'm not putting any pictures up right now. We're talking about
it's like having you bring up the pictures, cabrón.
Right? No, and you would think he's an author, and he's like, yo, let me give these ladies their respect. They have their own property.
Oh,
out
that's so
there.
true.
Well, no, Ivan's like, yo, pictures, yo,
He's
pictures.
not paying
The
attention.
history between you guys, pictures, and I'm reading his comments.
Man, come on! And your name, your Facebook name is Author Ivan Sanchez.
Y la mierda es que, Jackie, but I still have a helicopter money. Malcriado, maltirado, estrujado. You earned it tonight. Yes. But listen. You guys got any questions for me, Casper? Jackie, anybody got a question for me?
I'm curious about your anxiety.
What?
I'd like to know more about the anxiety, but maybe we can do another. We can kind of dig into that in another show.
Another 15 minutes. What would you like to know?
I'm curious to know when it happened, why, and how you got past it.
Well, I'll be honest, like the first time it happened to me, I was in Chicago. I think it was like 1991, por ahí. Yeah, it was 1991. It was in June, and I was in the lobby. Yes, Bruja, I was a social worker on the Lower East Side, and I was waiting to get picked up to go to work. And all of a sudden my heart started pounding like crazy. It started pounding, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And I got to the front desk, and I said, "Listen, man, I think I'm having a heart attack." Blah 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 blah. And so, they sat me down. They gave me water, and they were just fanning me, man, because I was sweating and everything. I didn't know what was going on. So when the EMT people showed up, they took my blood pressure, they listened to my heart, boom, boom. I have relaxed a little bit at that point. And the EMT guy goes, dude, you're going to be fine, man. You just had an anxiety attack. I go, a what? An anxiety attack. And that was the first time I ever heard that, anxiety panic attack. So they happen. I listen, I get them out of nowhere sometimes. And I might get them now maybe 3-4 times a year.
Oh, you still get them?
Oh yeah. But the thing is that I've learned to breathe. You know, I learned how to regulate my body. You know, and poco a poco, you know, when you learn these things, you know, you just got to really be in touch with your body, with yourself. You know, sometimes I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm thinking about, okay, you got to pay this, you got to pay that. How you gonna do this? How you gonna do that? How you gonna get there? Blah blah blah. And so sometimes your mind just races. When your mind starts racing and you can't turn off that switch, you go through those anxiety. You know, but you know, I've learned my best to handle it because you have to. It's scary because sometimes, coño, I've thought I was having a heart attack, you know? And I can't tell you how many times they take your blood pressure, they take your heart rate, they check your oxygen, say, dude, you're good. You just went through an anxiety thing. So it's like, so then you gotta ask yourself, why am I going through this? How do I handle it, you know? And again, I take deep breaths, you know? I try to meditate. I try to relax.
Did you ever talk to anybody about it? Like, did you ever talk to a therapist or anything about it?
You know, I'll be honest with you. I have gone to therapy, and it's kind of messed up sometimes when you go. For me, when I go to therapy, because you know, I just like to be looked upon as another human being, and not like an actor walking into a room that needs a therapist.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, because
you know,
unfortunately, that's what you would
There's
get.
a stigma, yeah.
Because you know, then I'm getting like a lot of yeses, a lot of but I'm not unlocking anything. So I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I have conversations with my kids now because they're young adults, and the insight that they have is incredible. You know, and sometimes I do talk to my friends about it. You know, listen, I'm going through this, and I'm not asking for anybody to tell me I'm right, I'm wrong. Hear me out,
right?
Because I need to get it out.
You just need someone to listen sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I've never had suicidal thoughts, but I have thought about an end. You know, like this fucking world is crazy. You know, I don't know if I want to be a part of this shit.
Yep.
You know, I mean, but I continue. I continue because I still have work to do, you know, in this life. You know, but again, and sometimes it's about reading a book that deals with these issues, or reading a book of people that gone through this stuff and see how they have coped.
And
you
that
know,
helps.
Because you know, I had to deal with bereavement in my life, and what got me through bereavement was that I went to a bereavement group, and listening to other people talk about the bereavement, and I said, "Coño, they're going through the same thing I'm going through." You know, they feel the same thing I feel, so it made me not feel alone in my pain. You know, and then I befriended these people. They befriended me. I became a godfather to one of the people in the group. They became the godfather to my son, you know, and so like I said, whether it's reading a book or being a part of a group or having someone to talk to, but that's the whole thing, people. You have to have someone to talk to. You have to have someone to let these things out because it's important. We're human. We break down. We and it's not about getting up and being that strong person and shit. It's about believing in yourself, understanding your pain, understanding where it comes from. And like I said, there's many things out there, whether it's your faith, whether it's meditation, whether it's reading a book, whether it's a combination of all those things, talking to your best friend.
Going for a run, doing something physical, writing. Yes, absolutely. Something creative.
But always understand, people, in the end, you're not alone. When you're going through this stuff, you're not alone.
Yep.
That's why it is so important to reach out. I say it again, my people out there that suffering, they're going through addiction, losing their home and all that stuff, and you feel like hurting yourself, call that suicide hotline. Call that suicide hotline, reach out to a friend. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, man, the world is so fucking complex now, and all these fucking crazy ass problems and all these, irresponsible people that are running the show, it affects all of us.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely. Are we gonna get another stimulus check? Am I gonna lose my business? Am I gonna lose my apartment? It's like, there's people out there suffering and going and asking themselves these questions every day. But then there's these assholes, idiots that are juggling people's emotions, through bullshit politics. So again, it's up to us as a people to change the narrative. Because let me tell you, man, there's too much ignorance, and ignorance is not something that we can tolerate.
No, we're losing sight of what's really important. We're losing sight of the people, of the health of the people, the well-being of the people. Like, that's what's important. And we're just completely losing sight of that because we're so entangled in who's right and who's wrong, unfortunately.
And nobody's asking, how can we do better? It's
Exactly. It's just who's going to win.
Jackie, what do you make? What do you make homemade that is better than going to a store or restaurant?
That's a good question. I would say maybe arroz con gandule.
Okay. All right. I buy that.
My grandmother's recipe.
Casper?
What do I make that? I would say, man, I make so many.
Breaded chicken. I change it. Breaded chicken. Sorry, go ahead.
No. You can't be changing your answer in the middle of me answering.
Well, what if it's more than one?
Yeah, I was thinking, I make mean ribs or chicken cordon bleu. I mean,
that's fancy.
Christina makes it as well too. Awesome, like we make that better than the restaurants. Seriously.
Yo, what's the book? What's the book you've read that you've been telling everybody about?
Recently, or any book that I tell people about?
Any book that you tell people about that, you got to read this book.
I love Malcolm Gladwell. So The Tipping Point was the first book I ever read by Malcolm Gladwell. I think it was the first one he ever wrote. So I always tell people about it because I think it's a genius approach to marketing and how to make something tip, to go from virtual obscurity to being the biggest thing in the world. It's really fascinating.
Your turn.
Let me see. I would go with maybe the 1, 2, 3 Follow Me Sesame Street edition with Count Dracula and the pop-up pictures. Okay. No, seriously, books like I want to say Walter Mosley, Devil in the Blue Dress. That he also had Fearless Jones characters of his that I loved. Stephen King books. I grew up with a lot of Stephen King books.
Okay, listen, I just asked you for one. I didn't ask you for a library.
Oh man, but yo, I have to prove that I read, bro. You know, why you gotta be a dick, yo? Why you gotta be a dick?
What? So the book that I'm telling everybody about right now, the book that I'm reading called "You Can't Hurt Me," and it's an awesome book. It's about this man. Forgive me, I don't have it in front of me. It's up there. I forget his name. But it's this man that, you know, that dealt with some of the subjects that we dealt with today, depression, anxiety, abuse. You know, as a kid, he was abused by his father. His brother was abused, and his mother used to get punched out all the time. You know, his mother ran away with him. He went through a lot of stuff. He's a black man, you know, grew up in kind of going to white schools and stuff, and he used to take kind of one hand, but he became a Navy SEAL.
Right. I'm seeing David Goggins is his name, or Goggins.
Yes.
Okay.
He became one like an elite soldier, you know, but also the struggle that he went through to become that, but never ever giving up.
What's it called again?
Can't Hurt Me.
Can't Hurt Me.
You can, and I gotta tell you, people, I started reading that book, David Goggins. I started reading that book. I can't put it down. I can't put it down. You know, and it's amazing for me that when I come across a book like that, and you can't put it down, that has an impact. You know, and so it's really motivational. It's intuitive. You know, teaches you a lot about yourself. You know, yeah, I just wanted to ask that. And yo, what did your mother cook better than anyone else?
My mother doesn't really cook.
Okay.
She makes a really good. There's this like pasta that she makes with like chicken over it with like white wine and onions. It's really, really good. It sounds gross, but it's delicious. I would say she makes that really well.
Casper?
My mom makes this arroz. I think it's arroz vago, but it has like everything: bacon, chorizo, all kinds of meats in it. Oh my god!
I want to show you what that was, Casper.
What?
It won't break your heart. That was your mother cleaning out the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yo tirar todo esto ahí, and boom. Okay.
This show's over, right? We're on overtime. I'm out of here.
No. We're not finished, Gustavo. We're not finished. So, my favorite thing that my mom used to cook was avena. My mom made an avena like no other. Oh my God.
My grandmother makes avena all the time. Well, not all the time, but it has so much sugar. It's like eating a spoonful of sugar. I'm like, Grandma, you really gotta cut back on the sugar in the avena. It's like dessert.
That's probably why Louis likes his, because you know you can't really fuck up avena. I'm sorry, like I'm not sure why you're so excited about it, but you can't really mess that up. You know?
Okay, so my people out there, listen. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I want to thank our guests that came to the show, Shawna Baca and April. And I just want to say that it was a very enlightening show. We hope that you guys have enjoyed it. I will also say to each and every one of you, please spread the word about our show. And please, my people, vote. Use your power. Okay? Let's change the narrative. You know, Carlo, thanks for hanging out. Bruja, bendiciones to you. Liza, okay? Next time, pow for you. We get into it with Ivan.
Oh, no. Is that I'm going to find out the bochinche in a little while.
Ivan, yo no le voy a meter un chancletazo.
Debbie,
martillazo.
Debbie.
You know, Debbie, thank you to all my people out there.
My casi suegra, Isis Casiano Dermody. Hello.
To all my essential people out there, to all you nurses, doctors, firemen, delivery people, social workers, teachers, you know, to all you parents, all you firemen, policemen, you know, to anybody that really cared about our humanity, thank you for what you do. If my people, if you are out there and you are struggling, reach out to someone, call the suicide hotline, get help, you know. Jackie, take it away.
Yeah, well, you pretty much said everything I would want to say. I'm very inspired today. I'm very inspired by strong, intelligent women that are not afraid to be themselves.
That does not include you, Casper. Go ahead, Jackie.
And that are willing to share their struggles, because I think it's so hard to be honest, just to be honest, especially in a world that we live in, the world that we live in today, where everything is fake. You know, everything on social media is what people, you know, want other people to know about them and whatnot. I think it's extremely brave to talk about the things that, you know, a lot of people will frown upon. So I'm really inspired today, and I absolutely loved the conversations. I was like lost all track of time. So I thank both Shawna and April for coming onto the show and sharing their personal journeys. And I really want to do more shows like this. Like I really loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm liking our content. I absolutely like our content as well.
Okay, so Casper, what's the last thing you want to say, Casper?
Nothing, man. I really just love it.
Okay, thank you very much, Casper. Thank you, everybody, right now. Right now.
What?
Hey.
I got control.
My people, please vote. Okay?
Yes.
Vote early. You know, you're only allowed to vote once. So don't listen to Casper when he said vote as much as you can. Once. And to my people in Orlando, te digo esto, despierta Boricua, reclama lo tuyo.
You sounded like Walter Mercado.
Paz.
Paz.
Sí, cuídate.
Amor.
Bendiciones.